Just to summarize, hi. Till now we have discussed about various topics on DevOps. Just to summarize, we covered and talked about continuous development. Remember the diagram that we started, like you have a developer and how he will be utilizing your DevOps cycle and DevOps tools in order to complete the whole development and release cycle in form of continuous integration, continuous delivery, monitoring, release management, or container orchestration, so these kind of things. We referred in terms of a diagram that has continuous development, where we had version control tool, GitHub sitting, right? So GitHub actually supports continuous development. Sorry, Git supports continuous development by helping the version control automatically. Second, it was once the continuous development is in progress, you need continuous integration and continuous deliveries to the end users, testers, your beta testers, alpha testers, internal teams, external teams, outside users, web users, application users. So these kind of releases you need to do. So where we learn about Jenkins that provides integration with the continuous integration, let's say, with various tools in the environment. Then we saw about how we can do deployment and packaging of the softwares or modules that our developers are developing. And there we learned about Docker, which was providing an efficient way of deployment using containers. Then we talked about a tool where we need to manage our server's configuration, endpoint configurations automatically, and that was using Ansible. Right? So Ansible gives us a way of doing configuration management automatically on the target machines. Later we discussed about container orchestration using Kubernetes, right? So far we have covered and discussed about various topics that we had in our previous diagram, covering and helping the implementation of complete DevOps cycle. The last thing that we had, like when we have continuous deployment done on testing servers, say we have testing servers here. Testings are also being done using various continuous testing tools like Selenium, JUnit, etc. Now this testing feedback reports need to be shared with the developers automatically, and this is being taken care by our continuous monitoring tool that we are going to discuss in this session. And this is the last topic of our whole DevOps tutorial. So this will help you understand how you can implement DevOps completely in your IT environment and how it will help you speed up your whole IT life cycle or whole software life cycle from development to the end users. Okay, so let's discuss about continuous monitoring. The first thing we will see here about the agenda that we are going to cover. First we discuss about continuous monitoring, what is continuous monitoring and how it helps. Then we will see a very popular tool, Ngois, that helps us implementing continuous monitoring in our environment. We will also see, apart from Ngois, what other tools are available in the market that we can pick if we do not want to go with the Ngois software. Then we will discuss about Ngois in more detail. We will discuss about its architecture, how we can use it for monitoring services, applications, server, etc. Then we will discuss about Ngois plugins, which are backend of Ngois. These plugins need to be available and installed along with the Ngois installation so that you can connect with the remote machines, whether they are Linux, Windows, or any other type of devices. Then we will here we will also see about various hands-on sessions. We will see installation of Ngois on our master machine, or you can say Ngois server machine, and we will also see how we can install plugin and connect our client machines to the Ngois server and monitor them on the Ngois console. So this is the agenda that we are going to cover in this continuous monitoring session. So let's discuss about continuous monitoring. What exactly continuous monitoring is? Continuous monitoring is the process and technology used to detect compliance and risk issues associated with an organization's financial and operational environment. The financial and operational environment consists of people, process, and system working together to support efficient and effective operation. So everything that you have deployed in IT, especially using Devops. Before Devops, we had different ways of monitoring our servers, machines. We had manual monitoring. Somewhere we had automations. There were various tools like they are still existing and they are still being used. Where we have traditional IT practices being followed, like Big Fix. We have other kind of like monitoring softwares that are getting used heavily even nowadays also. But with the requirement of DevOps being getting popular, we had a requirement of doing continuous monitoring of the environment where we do not need any human intervention. The systems components that are being deployed in the DevOps, they are serving the end-to-end release, the recurring cycle of releases. They need to be continuously monitored for any bug or issue in the developed modules, in the deployed servers, the network devices, integration devices, even in your Jenkins. If you want to check for any bugs in your containers issues, resource monitoring, resource crunches, everything that you have deployed in your monitoring deployed in your environment, that need to be monitored. This is not about the resources and health check and even with the software modules only, even the security risk. If someone trying to attack your environment, if someone trying to breach the security, if your softwares are vulnerable to the threat, these all kind of things need to be continuously monitored because attacks can happen anytime in your environment. Your software can crash anytime. Your application can get heavily overloaded. Resources may get exhausted. You may not have CPU, memory, storage to run your recurring resource request coming from the end users, from software devices. So these kind of things need to be monitored when you have continuous releases, and we need to have your services available 24/7 to the end users. You do not want to get impacted with any downtime, even for 5 minutes, because every minute of downtime can incur a significant cost to you and your company, right? So this is all. This is where we needed continuous monitoring softwares to monitor our environment, infrastructure, applications, devices 24/7 to avoid any kind of compliance, security, or operational risk in the system, right? Hope you are able to get the catch what continuous monitoring is, right? These are some supporting points that support my statement why continuous monitoring is required. First of all, it helps you detect any network or server problems. These are our physical devices, right? They need to be monitored. Then it also helps determining the root cause of any issues, because all the systems, applications that are running, their activities are getting monitored and logged in files or softwares. Now, since you have every moment, every second log available in your transaction logs, so whenever any root cause, any issue happens, you will be able to dig into the logs and find the issues. And even these devices are capable enough to determine the errors getting generated in the logs, and they can send you notification alerts in the mails, pagers, or messages that this issue is these log entries are coming in the logs and they may give you severe pain in coming future. So these kind of activities can be monitored and root causes can be quickly analyzed using these kind of monitoring. Also, it maintains the security and vulnerability of the service. Your services are monitored. Any unwanted intrusion or any unwanted connections that you do not want to get your softwares providing the service can be monitored, and alert can be generated anytime immediately using these softwares. So that's where continuous monitoring is important. You cannot, the continuous means every moment your monitoring is active and it is watching around your all devices and services being deployed on the servers, right? It monitors and troubleshoots server performance issues also. If you are having a server performance because of system bugs or because of application overuseness or any other reasons, they will again generate the alert and get you notified with the defined means. Then it can respond to issues at the first sign of problem. As I said here, all logs are getting monitored, every log entry is getting monitored. So the first error that generated in the log will get you notified. And here you can take proactive actions in your environment based on the notification you got, and you can fix the issues before they cause any downtime in your environment, right? The last point is it monitors your entire infrastructure and business process. You are free to choose what component you want to monitor. You can choose a subset of devices. You can like production devices only. You want to monitor your test devices. You want to monitor your web servers only. You want to monitor your SSOs. You want to monitor your applications only. You are free to choose what software you want to integrate with the monitoring devices that you can do. And if you want to monitor all the devices, means all production devices in the infrastructure, then you can do so, and you can get your system 24/7 monitored, continuously monitored and protected. So these are the features why we need a continuous monitoring in your environment that is especially running DevOps and that needs 24/7 availability to the clients or end users. Understand? So this was a diagram that I was discussing here, that I explained you. Right? So we have already covered version control. We discussed about continuous development, integration, testing, deployment, everything, right? So testing is not part of this course, so we are not talking about this. But continuous testing is again mean of using supported tool like Selenium or JUnit to have automated test cases that are running against your modules that are being developed by our developers. Okay. So here testing again sends feedback to the developers using continuous monitoring tools that are deployed in the environment. Right. So this completes our software delivery pipeline as a whole. This was all about continuous monitoring. Next, we discuss about the tools that support continuous monitoring needs.
బయట కాదు
In last session, we discussed about continuous monitoring definition and the features that it offers to our monitored environment. So let's see what are the tools available in market to support this continuous monitoring needs. So at a bigger picture, we have listed here three major tools that are sharing most of the market share in terms of continuous monitoring requirement. So one is ELK stack, which is a combination of three tools: Elasticsearch, Logstash and Kibana, that in combination is very popular to provide you continuous monitoring for your whole infrastructure. Then comes Ngois, that is again a very popular tool, and for this we are going to discuss in this session in detail about implementation and integration with your target devices. Then the third is Splunk, which is also a very popular tool to fulfill your continuous monitoring needs, and that if deployed, it can monitor your complete IT infrastructure, including software, servers, applications, networking devices, storage, everything can be monitored at Splunk, and that can be again integrated with your messaging devices in order to send you notification. So these all three devices are capable of sending you notification about any misconfiguration or any issues in your system. So let's see next session about the continuous monitoring tool in more detail. Let's discuss a very popular tool for continuous monitoring, Ngois, in detail. What is Ngois? Ngois, also known as Ngois Core, is a free and open source software application and infrastructure devices. Ngois offers monitoring and alerting services for servers, switches, application, and services. So this way, Nagios is capable of monitoring each and every component and your complete IT infrastructure 24/7 or continuously. So that's where Nagios stands a very strong software to fulfill your all continuous monitoring rule, and that will be covered in our coming session in detail. Next, we discuss about Nagios architecture in upcoming session. Let's talk about Nagios architecture. How it organizes your IT components in order to get continuously monitored. So the slide shows a very typical Nagios architecture in summarized way. Here, Nagios provides us a GUI, a graphical user interface from where we can monitor all the devices integrated with Nagios. So that's where you can see it has a lot of options on web page that we will see in the hands-on session as well, and how it will give you all the metrics of the configured devices in detail, and that will be 24/7 continuously monitored metrics that you want to watched by your Nagios software. Nagios can have a scheduler where you can schedule your various activities to get monitored by the Nagios. Also, Nagios provides you various plugins that are that help you actually integrate and connect with your remote devices or clients that want to get monitored with the Nagios software. Okay, so these can be NRP plugins that monitor Linux devices, or that can be other type of plugins based on your target device type. So let's see the first component in detail. The first thing, as I said, it is a web UI which can be used to check the status of the host and services. This will give you the status of your connected devices, about the healthy status, the unhealthy status, everything can be viewed here on Nagios Core UI. Next is scheduler. As I said, the scheduler does a job of scheduling checks. That is what to check and want to check, when to check. So that means you can schedule the activities or monitoring checks that you want to get monitored by your Nagios at some schedules as per the requirement. This is done by scheduler using job that you can create for scheduling checks. Third is Nagios plugins. The client do not have Nagios installed on them. That means these are the target devices that you want to get monitored. So client do not need to get Nagios installed. So hence the log data of clients are sent through plugins. So this way your clients are integrated with the plugins, and they can send the logs and the generated events to the Nagios GUI or Nagios server with the help of these plugins integrated. So this is a typical architecture of Nagios implementation. In next session, we cover installing Nagios in detail. So by now we have understood what Nagios is and how it is architecture in order to implement in your environment. In this session, we are going to cover a hands-on installation on Nagios software. So for the sake of simplicity, I have everything documented here in a Word document for installing Nagios on Ubuntu. The process remains same on any kind of Linux version. So what we need to do as part of the installation, we need to first install and configure the master server, which can be called Nagios server or master, and then we need to install required plugins on slaves, and these slaves can be get monitored when they are connected with the master server using Nagios plugins. So let's start with the exercise. Here I have already set up two Google instances. One I have created as server, that will be our Nagios master, and other is client one, that is my Nagios client. Okay, that will be a candidate machine that I want to get monitored with the Nagios server. So I am already logged into these machines. This is my Nagios server. You can see I am logged in with Ubuntu user, and this is the server machine. And second is my client machine, which I want to get monitored with the Nagios. By default, server already get monitored by the Nagios core software. So let's start by updating the repo. The first command is common everywhere. You need to first refresh your repositories, software repos, and then only you should try. This is needed actually to refresh your repository with the new URL links of the software that are already part of the software repo. So now here in this second command, we are going to install dependencies. I will be installing wget in order to download the software from the web URL. So wget actually utility to download packages from command line. Then there is required to get required if you have your make and all binaries because we will need later on in this exercise to build the packages of Nagios in order to install them on the server. We will configure, build and install, in short if I must say. Then I am installing utility to unzip packages that will be downloaded in this exercise. And OpenSSL is required for software exercises, for generating for certificate exercises that will be generating and using in this. And libSSL dev is required in order to have SSL libraries, developers libraries to support SSL certificates in this exercise for Nagios operations. Okay, so this command I will be running here on master. So if you see here, these all commands installing Nagios should be run on master only. Give your confirmation yes, hit install all the packages. The next is, once dependencies are installed, we will install Apache. Nagios works with Apache in order to provide you graphical user interface. Then PHP is needed in order to, because Nagios files are PHP files, this is needed to be build your Nagios package. libapache2 is required, libapache2 mod PHP is required to provide to integrate PHP module with Apache software so that it can run Apache run PHP code on the web server. And this is again, these are some PHP dependencies that we are installing here along with Apache. So this command I will run once above command completes successfully. It is still running. So meanwhile, let's go through the document only. We are installing multiple packages, so it may take few minutes. Once we install these kind of dependencies, the next is you can match with the output with your screenshot as well, which are defined here. So yeah, the installation is completed. Let's run the second command to install the remaining softwares. So you can see here, I'm not installing Nagios as of now. I'm installing the dependencies that will be required to run Nagios later on. Next step will be, once these Apache and all are installed, we will need to create one Nagios user on my master server. Why Nagios user is needed? This is needed in order to run your Nagios operations. So our Nagios software will run using this Nagios user only. Later we need one Nagios group also, Nagios NAG-CMD, I'm giving it a name. So this group is needed to run, which will be to which Nagios user will be part of, and I will give all operations access to this NAG-CMD group when I start my Nagios server. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so all the operations and software are installed that I gave in the previous command. Let's start creating this user. So the add user is a Linux command which adds a user that you give here as an input. So this add user has completed. Next I'm going to create the this is not completed. I need to give password for it. So I can give any password. Okay, full name I can skip. These are option values. I can skip. Yes, information correct. Just give confirmation and it has created your user. You can check the user entry in your etc password. If user got created or not. So you can see the last user is next. I will add a group using group add command. The name of the group is NAG-CMD, which will be used to add Nagios user, and this group will be used to run your all Nagios operations. This user mode command, if you remember the Docker session, we use the user mode command to make your current user part of Docker group. That's the same command I am running here, -ag nag cmd group, and the Ngois user need to be part of this group and it will be added using user mod. Done? Next, we are going to make this group part of, this www data user that exists by default to the nag cmd group. These two users need to be part of nag cmd group. So the operation should complete successfully. If you are getting any error, you need to troubleshoot that. So far we are good. We have completed all the steps successfully. Next, we will start the Ngois installation by downloading the Ngois 4.4.2 tar package. How? Using wget that we installed in previous steps, right? So every component that we have installed will be utilized in the installation. Yes, the file is downloaded. You can check in your directory this Ngois 442.tar.gz that I downloaded using wget. Next, I want to untar this file using tar-xzf. This command will be used to extract the tar.gz file locally. Check, your file has been extracted and you can go inside it using cd and do the required configuration steps. Just go inside the Ngois folder and let's see what we have inside. So you see all the required files. These all are this is developer package, so where we have all the core files available in order to install our Ngois software. So here we need to run some configuration steps. The given command make the required configuration. How? You need to have one. If you check, you have a configure binary here. This configure binary is used to make required configurations in your Ngois before installation. What I am going to configure here, remember you need to be a root, so I am using sudo with all the command. Then configure binary will be run as root with command group. So here I am mentioning in the configuration that my command group will be nag cmd that I created in the previous step. Using configure, I am setting the group using which my Ngois will run. This configuration is getting done. It will run several steps to get your configuration set up, and you can see the end result here, creating sample config in this sample config file. So if you check this file, you will get config file available. That will check next step, and it will give you configuration summary here that will be used to install the Ngois. What is configuration summary available? Executable is Ngois. User group will be Ngois that we have already created, and that is already part of the nag cmd. Command group we already configured with the configure, so that is reflecting here. Event broker, yes. Installation location will be this. If you want to change, then again you need to run configure with this path. So by default I am using this user local Ngois default path for my installation. This will be using include directory. This directory Ngois directory will be included. Log file will be named this run Ngois.log. What is log file? When your Ngois is running, create a log file so that it is secured. Second process should not run because this will protect the current instance of Ngois that is running. Check result directory is this, init directory will be this, that will initialize. Apache config directory is this, that should be created already. We can check because we have Apache as the file. See, this site is already available. Here we are going to add Ngois configuration file in later steps. That's because we are going to monitor our Ngois code using Apache web server. So these are kind of configuration you can verify. Since we have got this configuration successfully, we are good to install the Ngois. Let's refer the document. Yes, we have got the same output and we are good to install. So for the install, we need to first make the code. Remember the C. This is following. We are building this package using make. This we run multiple steps in order to make the whole package. Once the make is successful, we need to verify, and then The last summary should be like this. If everything goes fine, we will get this kind of line enjoy, and the make is completed. Once make is completed, we need to run make install in order to install the Negios. So this will take a few moments in order to complete. So let's go to the document until it completes the packaging of the Negios package. Okay, so it's completed. We have got successful message as enjoy at the end. Now we will run install. Installation is in progress, and let's see if this is done. Yes. This is kind of make has been successful, and the directory that it ran you can get in the end of the command output. This is the same command we have received. Now we are going to run sudo make install init. Init will be installed using sudo make install init. Okay, this will install and initialize the Negios service here. You can see user bin install has been configured to this lib systemd service, and with this Negios.service. This will be used to run Negios as service on this Ubuntu machine. Next is we are going to install config. Okay, so this will be run as sudo make install config. So this will install the configuration that we have packaged using make. So you can see all the configuration step run and config files are installed at these locations. You can see all our CFG files. So using install config, we install all the configuration files at their defined locations. These files will be required in order to run the Negios services. Once install configuration is successful, now we need to install command mode. This will help you running Negios in your command mode. Install you see command mode has been installed using this command, and permission has been set as a read write. So this is also set external command directory configured. You can see the output here all set till this point. Next is we have event handlers available here in this country event handlers location. If you check here, you will have this file available here. This file, this directory has all the event handling files that will be handling the events happening in your environment. So you can see these kind of handling files are available, like active service check, notification, enable notification, disable notification. These kind of operation will be performed by these handlers. You can suppress the notification if you want to disable notification. You can use enable notification to enable notification, right? When you want to start getting the notification, this kind of handler will be used. These need to be copied to this user local Negios lib execute file, because this location will be used by default as to my configuration. If you see, these files should be available in this directory now. Event. So these files are copied and available at this location. Second is we need to change the ownership of these files. As of now, if you see, these files are owned by my user, right? This is my current user is Ubuntu. But which user is going to run Negios? It is Negios user, right? So I need to change, because I have copied these files using root. So this way you can see the owner of these files is root. But Negios will be running, so I need to change the ownership to Negios. So Negios need to have permissions and ownership of these files in order to execute them inside the Negios code. Let's check again. I have changed the permissions, ownership of these files using the command. Everything is set. Now, as I said earlier, we need to create one Apache configuration in conf available file. The file name should be negios.conf. So what I will do, I will use vim to create this file, and here I will add the required entry that is available in my document. I will be putting all Negios required configuration, like my location of Negios binary is here, user local Negios bin, CGI bin, this will be pointing to this. directory is again this Ngois location, admin location, where it will pick the executables. The user that I use to log into my Ngois will be set by ht password users that I will be setting in coming steps. So these are all configurations are available. Alias I have generated for Ngois will be user local Ngois share. So this location will be linked to this /Ngois. When I hit this URL on Apache web server on my internet browser, this /Ngois will point to this location. Again, so these are the required configuration that I am putting in my file nginx.conf. Sorry, Ngois.conf. Okay. This is all done. Let's see if there is any error. No, everything pasted correctly. So next is to run this command in order to generate your Ngois admin user. So here I am creating one if you remember, here I gave this htpassword.user will be used to log into the Ngois console when we open the GUI. So this user I am using to the htpassword.users, which the name is Ngois admin. So this Ngois admin is the user that I am creating here to log into the Ngois console. So what is the command? Sudo htpassword -c, and then this is the location that I defined here and Ngois admin. This command I need to run on my master. You need to provide a password. Let's set some password. Okay, so adding password for user Ngois admin is done successfully. Next, we need to enable the Apache configuration using this command. So this is Apache command which I need to run for Ngois. Ngois is given here that will pick automatically Ngois.conf file that I created with the above content here in etc apache 2 conf of label Ngois.conf file. So let's do this. It has enabled conf Ngois, means this file is enabled now. To activate new configuration, you need to run systemctl reload apache 2. So in order to get this configuration reflecting in my Ngois, I need to run reload apache configuration. But before that, I need to do one more thing. I need to do enable apache configuration for CGI rewrite. So that is also done. Later I will reload at one go. I'm not restarting again and again. So since everything is done, I will reload Apache 2 service. Either you can use service command or you can use systemctl command. Both will work similarly. So let's reload and check the Apache status. What I can do? Systemctl status Apache 2. You see, after reload, the Apache service is running successfully and it is ready to serve my Ngois GUI. So let's go to directory back, and here I will do some plugin installation in order to support integration with client devices. Okay, so this is where I will be installing NRPE plugins, and this NRPE plugin we will discuss in coming session in the slide. So let's download Ngois plugin soft package here, car package here, and let's see if it is downloaded correctly. Yeah. So Ngois plugin downloaded successfully. Next, I need to untar it, means extract the files here in directory. You can see this directory has been created. I need to go inside it and do the same steps like configure with which user I want to run this plugin, Ngois, and the group will be Ngois and with OpenSSL. So here I am using Ngois user and group for this operation. Okay, so let's go inside Ngois plugin and run this configure operation like we did for Ngois. Meanwhile it is running. Let's see the next step is again make. We need to make the package with this configuration that I did run after changing the user or adding the user for Ngois configuration, and then once make is successful, we will go for install of this Ngois plugin. So it may take some time while plugin is getting make. Then once plugin is installed, we will again go back and start our we will add some Ngois configuration in Ngois.conf file and user local Ngois etc Ngois.conf file, and we will change, or we will uncomment this line in order to mention which directory, server directory I want to monitor, means where my client's entry will be available in order to get monitored by Ngois. So there are two ways using which you can mention in this Ngois.conf file, and we will see it later on. Let's run. This was make is run. Sorry, configure is run. Now I need to run make. Okay, so this is running, and it may again take few minutes. So here I was telling you there are two ways. You can monitor a complete directory for server configuration that you want to monitor, or you can, now anything you place in this config directory will be picked by your Ngois and added to the monitoring. Or you can add file also. You can add file using CFG file, and so both way. If you want to monitor one server only, you can add in terms of file. You can add multiple CFG file also to get monitored. If you want a complete directory, you can monitor using CFG DI also. So there are two ways to place your server configurations, the server entries. Make is successful. I need to install now. This has installed my plugin. What next? Next I have to go. Yes, so plugin has been installed. Make install GL. And before we can start using Ngois, so that will be, we need to this configuration. We need to do this configuration in order to enable our monitoring directory. We need to tell the Ngois which way we want to monitor using a configuration DI or configuration file. So let's go here and edit the file. Ngois.cfg file is available by default with all the parameters that are required, but every parameter will be commented. You can uncomment the line which you want to get effective. So you can see all files are available here. Okay. So log file will be this. You can change it here. So all Ngois related configuration you can manipulate here. Config file means you can specify individual object config file as shown below. So for every device you can add its config file with CFG file. It will monitor all the files. Then later you can see CFG dir. So this, the way we want to monitor by placing all config files for all the devices in this location. So I will uncomment this and use this configuration in my Ngois installation. Okay. So I have uncommented this line. Later I need to make a directory because I have uncommented this line, right? But this directory need to be checked or created if it is not available, because that need to be monitored by my Ngois. So you see, the directory is not available. So what step I need to do? I need to create this directory as root, and then I will be able to place configuration files here. So let's create the directory and then verify the changes in your configuration file using the command. Ngois provide you a command like use Ngois-v and then the configuration file path to check if there is any syntactical error or your configuration file is fine to support the Ngois installation. If there is any file, you will get if there is any error in the file, you will come to know and you will be able to correct it before your Ngois installation can go into any error. So here I have run the command and I see it has checked these many services, objects, circular paths, and here I can see no warning, no errors. That means I am good with my configuration and I am ready to start my Ngois on my server. So how I need to do? I need to start Ngois service and enable in the systemctl. These two steps are required here. So I started my service. Let's check the status. Sudo service Ngois status. I can use both systemctl and service, both commands for the same way. You can see Ngois is running. I want to enable auto start of this service whenever server reboots. So I can do using systemctl enable. This will add a symbolic link to the Ngois service to the system in order to manage this service with servers up and down automatically. So this is done. Now I should be able to access this Ngois software from web browser. So let's try. I need to get my master IP. You can get the master IP from the Google Cloud Console. External IP I need to access because I am accessing from browser, and I need to append Ngois here at the end. It is of course not a secure access. SSL is not enabled, so I need to do HTTP, master IP and Ngois. This should be accessible if everything has happened and went fine. Now it is asking for authentication. Remember, we used HT password to set Ngois admin as user, and we set password for it, right? I will give the password I entered that time. You need to remember the password in order to log into the Ngois. Otherwise, you will lose the access. So this is where you can see my Ngois core master is successfully accessible, and I am ready to get all the devices monitored inside it. You can see a lot of options available: home, documentation. You can refer to the documentation of Ngois on the same page. You do not need to go anywhere. Tactical overview, you can see here you have all devices and all event handlers, means monitoring features that are provided with your Ngois installation. You can see all available here. Okay, host health check is fine, service health check is green. Green means everything is fine. Here you can get the summary. Network outage is 0, host 0 down, 0 unreachable, 1 is up and running. Which one? The local host where your Ngois is running, that master one. 0 pending, critical 0, 3 okay. Or even you have click option, you can go inside and check the status of more details about the status, like up 1, down 0. Or dashboard can be seen with lots of interesting details about monitoring. Okay, here also you can go to map, you can go to host. Here host, you will see all the hosts that you have added. Currently only master is added, so you will get it as a local host, and you can go inside and check all the metrics here about the monitoring. Host status up, ping okay, performance data, current attempt. So lots of metrics are enabled by default with Ngois monitoring, and you can see all status here. So now next step will be that we will try to add one more host client to get monitored with the Ngois core. This is all about Ngois installation. Let's meet in next session. Let's talk about various Ngois components that are required for its functioning. At major level, Ngois got two types of components. One are objects and one are plugins. So objects are the elements that are involved in the monitoring and notification logic. If you remember, we went to the console and we checked for the host and other entries that we saw. So all the entries, if you go inside a host, whatever component that you monitor are called object in terms of Ngois. Okay. So you can go to the host from host also, you can go from tactical view, you can monitor services here. So these are called of types of object that you configure in Ngois. When Ngois restart or reload, it reads all the .cfg files. Remember the Ngois.cfg file that we edited? Inside this, whatever files you have entered, including Ngois.cfg files, all are read, and these objects are added to the monitoring configuration. Okay, so it says it reads all the .cfg files within the object directories. So if we want to monitor any server, we want to, my server got disconnected somehow, let's reconnect. Okay, so if you remember, we created one directory with this name, which we had added in Ngois.cfg file. This one, right? So this file, we uncommented this location to get monitored for all the objects that we want to monitor, and that's where we will be placing all the directories. So this line referring all the CFG files are read when your Ngois is restarted, reloaded, or started for the first time. It will read all the CFG files and from where it will come to know which all objects or server devices configuration need to be monitored using Negios. Second comes plugin. Plugins are the piece of software that one installed on the Negios slave host. They are installed on the Negios slave host in order to interact with the host machine or Negios master machine. So these plugins, when installed, they actually interact with the master node and send all the application logs, server events, everything to the Negios to get reported on the monitoring console or send notification. So this is where these two components of Negios help with the functionality of continuous monitoring in Negios. Next topic, we discuss about Negios plugins that we'll be installing on slave nodes in order to get connected with the master. In last session, we discussed about objects and plugins. So let's see what type of plugin Negios provides us to enable the integration between various devices. At a major level, Negios provides two kinds of plugins. One is NRPE, Negios Remote Plugin Executor, and other is NS Client++. Based on the type of devices, it has got few plugins to connect with the master host. NRPE plugin required, if you can see here, it is used to monitor your Linux devices and connect with them. It can be CentOS, Ubuntu, or any Linux flavor, Fedora, Red Hat, all can be connected with the help of NRPE plugin installation. When you have Windows type devices, you need to have NS Client++ or plugin installed, and then they will be able to talk to the Negios host. For getting monitored, you can monitor all the Linux and Windows devices from one single Negios host. You do not need to have a Negios Windows host in order to monitor Negios Windows client. Your Linux host that we have created here, that can monitor all kind of devices, target devices, which can be Linux or Windows machine. So this is all about types of plugins that we can use in Negios. Next session we cover about creating monitoring service and monitor a host with your Negios master. Let's try to connect a Linux device that we have already set up in our Google instance and try to create a monitoring service on top of it to get monitored by the Negios. Let me open the document for same, and I will be using it for creating a monitoring service. First, I will connect the device with the host and Negios host or Negios master, and will create a monitoring service that will be of type HTTP service to get monitored by the Negios. So let's go on the slave machine that I have already connected. This is my slave machine, right? Client 1. I will be using Ubuntu user. You can use a user of your choice. That's not a criteria. And let's run. First, we need to refresh the repository, and then we need to install the dependencies. Here also we need to install Apache as a dependency to make my connection with the host. Okay, so let's install Apache and press yes. So once Apache is installed, we need to check the status of Apache. It should be up and running. If not running, then you need to go and use systemctl start or service Apache to start in order to start the service. Ideally, it should be running after the installation. This is the progress, 98%. Meanwhile, we can go to the document. Once it is installed and running, Apache can be accessible, and we should be able to see a default page by accessing it externally using the Google Cloud Instance public IP. Okay, so this can be done once Apache to installation is complete. Till this point, we have to do all the setup on the client machine. Next, we need to go to the host and add this machine to get monitored to the to this our Negios console. There are two ways. I said you can add this host.cfg inside the server directory that we already created. Remember, cfg dir. There we can create this host.cfg file and this will the Nginx will automatically pick this entry to monitor the complete server. Next, you can if you are not having this dir configured, you can instead you can create this cfg file and add inside cfg file entry like this one. So both way you can monitor this file inside your Negios host. So we will try to follow this first one by adding this host.cfg file inside the server directory. Okay, so let's see if installation is complete. Yes, so I need to check the status of Apache. It is running, and I will try to access it from the public IP of my client. HTTP public IP, this one, and I am able to successfully access Apache default page. That means Apache is successfully installed on my client machine. Next, I need to add this host file in the directory that I configured inside negios.cfg. This is server. Okay. So this is the path. Right. This path I have configured inside. This is my negios.cfg. Let's verify it is the same path as this one, user local negios etc servers. Okay, so it is user local negios etc server. So both are same. So I am good to create my file inside this directory and will get automatically picked by the configuration. So host file, you can give any name. Host.cfg I am giving, you can give any name and will be picked by the Negios master. So this is the content that I have populated. Let me paste and then I will try to explain you. So you can see I have defined three things actually. One is the host that I have defined here, generic host, that is my host template for adding any host into the Negios. Second is the host, the target host that I am adding to the Negios configuration, and here I need to edit something these informations like what is the host name. I need to give my server name here. I need to give the type of OS that my server has deployed and the address of it. These three entries I need to correct, and then only my Negios will be able to communicate to the host. So these parameters need to be corrected. Again, this I can use any because I am giving here I am adding this. So this is the name inside the Negios monitoring console. Then here I am creating a service, the monitoring service that I am talking about here, this one. So this monitoring service I am adding here. Any type of service you can add, you can give a name to it, generic service. The host name again need to be corrected. The type of service I want to monitor, the HTTP service I will be monitoring here, so I am giving HTTP, and then check command will be check HTTP. So these things I need to edit as per my machine. My machine name is client 1. This need to be corrected. 1. Rest can be same. This also need to be corrected. OS flavor is Ubuntu here in my case. And the IP. IP I need to get from here. Internal IP, not external one. So make sure you are giving internal IP of the host, not from the Google console. You can check using this command. This is my IP. This I need to put here and update. These changes I have done successfully. This is my host entry to the Negios host, and this is the service I want to monitor. This is ready. Next, I need to check if this configuration file is correct. How we can do? We can again run Negios command on this configuration file, and it will automatically check the command is the syntax of the file is correct or not. Here you can see Check 9 services, 2 hosts. Now entries have changed. I have added one more services. So here from 8 services to 9 I can see. From 1 host to 2 hosts. 1 host group is there and there is no error or no warning. So my configuration is correct. Now I can go and reload my Negios in order to get the configuration, new configuration reflected. Without restart, configuration will not take effect. So that's the step you need to check, and once it is done, you can check the status also. See, active and running 6 seconds ago. So that was successfully restarted. And now I should be, if I go to console, here again I reload, and I should be able to get 2 servers added here. Remember, we had only local host, the master server available here, but since I added a configuration for client 1, I am able to get this monitored by the Nagios successfully. So I am inside my client 1 machine, the slave machine, which is getting monitored by the Nagios, and you can see all the status, host status, status information, performance data, everything looks good because it is showing green status. So this is where we have successfully added this machine, and I am able to get the host status correctly, right? And one thing, if you want to go and check here which service you have added, so you can go inside this host and client 1, and you will be able to see the service that I have added here sorry, I need to go to services, and here you can see the service that I have added manually. So for localhost, we had all these services defined. If you check your localhost, then you will be able to see these many services in localhost configuration. While your client configuration that I just did, it has only HTTP service by adding this entry. Remember, we added one entry for it. Inside the configuration, this was HTTP service. So this client has only one HTTP service created, so that's where you are able to see only one service for it, while your host has many. If you want to see all these services configuration, you can go and refer your host file also. I will show you that again. You can go to the master server, check sudo yum. This is your localhost configuration file. So if you want to check all the services that are getting monitored for your localhost Nagios master, you can go and look at. See? You see, this is the localhost entry, the host entry for it. This is the localhost for it, right? For Nagios, its master is the localhost. So you can see host name, alias, address, everything. Same file you can copy for any host configuration also. If you don't have the template, you can copy this file and create a new entry for your connecting server. You got a host group, you got a service, you have local services here. You can see local service is created here, and that's where you can see a local service here for monitoring the load and all. Then you get again a local service here for root partition. So the first service was local service and the name was ping. And you can see a ping service created here. Second was root partition. For root partition, you can see a service here, right? Third, you can see a current user service, and this is again here current service, right? So every service has details available. You can go inside and check all the parameters. All are clickable. Then I added total processes monitoring. Using this, check local process to 50 for all parameters. So local process also can be, total process also can be seen here. So if you go inside, you will be able to see all the parameters. So this way you can add any number of entries in your this client also, right? If you want to add one more, now if you see, the HTTP status was pending earlier. After some time, it was able to do handshake successfully with the client machine, and it is able to get the green status. If it was not successful after some time, you will get a red status like critical or something here again. So this is how we have successfully added one host to the Nagios monitoring, and we are able to monitor. That's all about this session. We have successfully completed our Nagios tutorial, and this was all we had to cover in Nagios topic. Thank you for attending. Keep learning and keep enjoying the